Who is leading the newly announced UAP Science Advisory Council? I'm Ryan Geckner, and I'm here with Chris Daly.
Why do we want to talk about a Texas couple who has been charged with fraud? And why is this Sunday important? This is Headlines from the Beyond.
All right, welcome back to this week's edition of Headlines, everybody. We've got some fun stories for you this week. We're kicking off with a story about one of our favorite academics who studies the unknown. You will not be surprised to hear that it is Avi Loeb, who has been tasked by the White House and other federal agencies with assembling what he has called the A team of UAP studies, but is officially known as a UAP Science Advisory Council. Reportedly, the goal of the council is to advise the U.S. government on how to resolve the nature of unidentified anomalous phenomena. Now, you may have seen lots of talk on social media about this council. I know I did, and there are lots of opinions about it. A lot of folks were claiming that this is just Project Blue Book 2.0, particularly because the council is reportedly not going to have access to classified information. So they really won't have any access to anything that we really don't have, it would seem. So it's kind of unclear about what they will do, but Dr. Loeb has assembled the A team, as he calls it, and the members cover a variety of expertise, including philosophy, computer science, psychology, oceanography, econ, communications, physics, molecular biology, and our personal favorite, anthropology. There's a whole list of members that we will link in the show notes in Dr. Loeb's announcement about the council, but a couple that we wanted to point out. One that has been circulating a lot on social media is the inclusion of Dr. Michael Shermer. If you're not familiar with who he is, he's the executive director of the Skeptic Society and the founding publisher of Skeptic magazine. So he's not exactly someone people expected to see in the lineup.
But you know what? It's good to have a skeptic on
Yes,
there. I
yes, it
think
is.
that's important.
Yes, it is. And Avi Loeb talks a lot in his little piece on Medium about why Shermer's included. He doesn't point him out by name. He says, we're including skeptical opinions and things like that. I think he uses the word to avoid groupthink, I think is the way that he described it. It is good, but there's a lot of questions about, what his role will be.
Yeah, and why choose him as the skeptic? I
Yeah, I
mean, there's
mean,
a lot of skeptics out
you
there.
could have picked a
So
lot of different people, so it's a little interesting. And then we would be remiss if we did not shout out the single anthropologist on the roster, Dr. Peter Skafish. He's a sociocultural anthropologist. He studies lots of things related to UAP phenomena. You can go and look up various interviews that he's done on YouTube with people like Leslie Kean, as well as the Archives of the Impossible. He did a talk for them last year. So he's definitely someone in the UAP space that is also a practicing anthropologist. So we're happy to see that. Now, the council will report to a higher level UAP governance board. So it sounds like we're just like assigning all of these little groups of people to talk about UAPs now in
well,
the government.
it's government, so
Yeah.
there's got to be a
Yes.
hierarchy and it's
Yes.
got to be convoluted.
Yes. And so the higher level board will serve as an interagency body that can use each member's capabilities and unique authorities to cohesively address national security threats posed by UAP. So clearly we've got the national security branding on all of the things that the government is doing related to UAP, and I'm sure our listeners may have feelings about that. So we'll see.
Avi Loeb has feelings on that too. He's leading this, but he
Yeah.
talks all the time about the fact that this is not really about security. This is about science. This is,
Yeah, yeah. So,
it's
well,
interesting.
yeah, we'll be interested to see how this plays out. I mean, if you've been following any of this, you may have noticed there have been at least one other notable scientist who has sort of changed his tune. Neil deGrasse Tyson, if you haven't seen, is suddenly on board with UAPs and is publishing a book about it. So, who knows?
Hey, if you can make money publishing a book, you
I
got
I guess. I mean, I guess, there's lots of feelings about
sure.
about his apparent shift in opinion, but
Yeah, that's
we'll
true.
we'll leave it at that.
This next story, at first glance, might not make sense. The U.S. Attorney's Office of the Western District of Washington has indicted a Texas couple for psychic fraud.
Love it.
So, Bridget Doreen Evans, also known as Jolene Travis, and her partner, Vinnie John and I'm going to try this one, Uwanowitch
That's how I would have pronounced it.
of Frisco, Texas, were arrested last week on an indictment from the Western District. So they're accused of defrauding emotionally vulnerable victims by posing as psychics who could cleanse them of romantic bad luck, among other things. So the charges include conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud, 4 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of mail fraud. And apparently this couple stole at least 2.5 million from at least 3 victims between April of 2021 and July of 2024. So Bridget Evans used the name Jolene Travis and advertised her psychic services on social media. And she used posts that were designed to attract people who were struggling with romantic or personal problems. She was looking for people going through a divorce or who just had someone they loved pass away or had feelings of isolation. So vulnerable folks.
Mm-hmm.
And she told them that she could perform readings and rituals to determine the cause of their misfortune, whatever it might be. Ultimately, what she told everybody was, "You're cursed." And your curse, this is the really interesting part. Your curse is tied to money or finances.
Naturally.
Sure. So then she asks people for a detailed accounting of their financial holdings. And, just anybody listening, don't ever give that to
Yeah,
anybody.
anybody who's asking for that probably does not have your best interest at heart.
Right. And then she would tell them that the way to remove the curse, the only way to remove the curse, was liquidate your holdings and send the money to her in cash or gold coins.
Okay, maybe we're like cursed by leprechauns or something.
Then she would cleanse the money. And after I do that, I'm going to send it back to you.
Of course. Totally.
She even had someone take out loans to buy a Corvette that was then delivered to her and to give her access to credit cards to pay off the victims, and I quote, karmic debts. So she would then return some small sums of money that she had cleansed, I guess. But she obviously did not get back the majority of that 2.5 million. So her partner was facilitating this by managing bank accounts to receive payments, selling the gold coins, the ones that were being cleansed and sent back. He was selling them. Transferring
There's a better market on ritually cleansed gold coins in
There you go.
Texas, obviously. Obviously.
So transferring spending fraud proceeds and of course vouching for Evans with the victims. Um, so I have a lot of feelings about why this is bad.
Yeah.
And there's some really obvious ones, right? We won't even go into those. But I really wanted to talk more about the psychic fraud part, not just the fraud part. I mean, fraud is just wrong.
It's not good. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, there's a lot of people, unfortunately, out there who do this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They claim to be psychic. And, we've already got a lot of people who are being treated differently, wrong, because they do have actual abilities and people don't believe them. And so then you add into the mix these folks who decide to claim it.
Mm-hmm.
There are legitimate psychics in the world, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I know not everyone agrees with me,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe that there are people with legitimate abilities. And, some of them might be operating online. I don't know exactly how all that works, but it doesn't help when you've got people doing this kind of thing.
No, it does not.
So interestingly, Evans herself was previously convicted of psychic fraud in both Florida and Texas. She had actually been incarcerated in Florida for a time.
Now that's wild to me because Florida is just a wild place and all kinds of stuff goes on down there. But they were like, you know what? You can't be playing psychic and stealing money. That's the line we draw.
And so Evans also operated under the names Joy John and Joy Page.
Where did she get this name generator? These names are just
It's probably AI.
something. They are something else.
But what I want to say is if there's anybody listening who was defrauded by someone with one of these names who lost their money,
Mm-hmm.
Contact the FBI. They are currently looking for additional victims because they are sure that there are more. And so we will put a link in the show notes. It's www.ic3.gov, but we'll put it in the show notes. And if you happen to be someone or know someone who is impacted by this, please let's let's make sure that people pay for doing those kinds of crimes. It's never okay to go after these people who are having hardships in life. And, you know,
Yeah, yeah, that's no good. All right,
yeah.
and Litha, otherwise known as the summer solstice, is this Sunday. Celebrates the sun reaching its highest point in the sky. It's also the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere, the shortest day for the folks in the southern hemisphere. And lots of folks celebrate, including many folks in the pagan community. And so we would encourage you, if you are not familiar with that tradition, to please check out our Substack on Field Notes from the Beyond, which we link in the show notes as well, about Litha, how people recognize it, and its significance for those traditions. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week as we talk about all of these stories, whether they be UAPs or psychic fraud. If you're a story that you think we should cover, please send it to us. We're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. We also have an email that you can send, you can use for that as well. And just thanks for tagging along with us as we continue to follow stories of the strange and the uncanny. This has been Headlines from the Beyond.